Hello everyone, we're here for our next Boxcar Children Read Aloud lesson. And so we're going to be doing lesson number 5 today. So I'll show you the questions after we read our goal. You can read it with me here at I can use key events. Ready? I can use key events from the story to explain my thinking and opinions. So key events means most important. So we're going to be using those key events or most important parts of the story to explain your thinking and reasoning. So I'm going to show you what your questions are for today. So, up at the top it says, many things happen in these 2 chapters, and I want you to think about these questions. Okay? Dr. Moore reads about a $5,000 reward for finding the children. Would you turn in the children for $5,000 and why? Violet told the truth about them. Would you have told the truth and why? Henry could have gotten caught while doing the race. Would you have done the race and why? The girls taught Benny to read. Do you think it's important they did this and why? So these 2 chapters are really, really exciting. A ton of stuff happens. So let's get started. Chapter 9, Fun in the Cherry Orchard. The next morning, Henry thought about taking the other children to pick cherries with him. At last he told his sisters about it as they ate bread and milk for breakfast. Dr. Moore said he wanted more children to help. Do you think all of us ought to go, Jessie? Well, said Jessie, I don't know. You see, there are 4 of us. If Grandfather is looking for us, it'd be easier to see 4 than 1. Yes, that's so, answered Henry. But we can go down the hill and walk through the streets 2 by 2. I'll take Benny and go ahead. Then in a little while, you can take Violet and the dog. Good idea, said Jessie. Watch can tell us where to go. The children took down the clothesline and shut the door of the car. Everything was in order. Then they started out. When they arrived at the orchard, they soon saw that they were not the only workers. The doctor was there, and the cook, and 2 men carrying ladders and baskets. Good morning, Henry, said Mrs. Moore. Can you work today? Oh, yes, said Henry. These are my sisters, Jessie and Violet. They can pick cherries, too. Benny's a little too young to climb trees, but we had to bring him. Maybe you can carry baskets, said Dr. Moore, smiling at Benny. You see, this is a big cherry year, and we have to work fast once we begin. Maybe you can help fill the little baskets from the big ones. Eat all you want, said Mrs. Moore. The cherries are beautiful this year. The children didn't eat all they wanted, but every now and then a big red cherry went in someone's mouth. Henry and the girls went up the ladders and began to pick cherries. Watch barked for a while. He did not like to have Jessie climbing the ladder. Then he sat down and looked at her up in the tree. Benny hurried here and there, carrying baskets to the pickers and eating all the cherries he wanted. Everyone in the orchard liked Benny. The doctor laughed delightedly at him, and sweet Mrs. Moore fell in love with him at once. By and by he sat down beside her and carefully filled small baskets with cherries from the big baskets. The men laughed at the funny things Benny said, and Watch barked happily. By and by the doctor left the orchard to make some calls. At last Mrs. Moore said, I never had such happy cherry pickers before. You're having such a good time out here that I didn't want to go in the house. She smiled. Mary the cook seemed to think the same thing, for she came again and again into the orchard. But after a while, the cook went in to get dinner, and the children still picked cherries. At noon, Dr. Moore came home. You must stay for dinner, he said to the children. We can eat here in the orchard under the trees. Will your mother be watching for you? When he asked this, he looked at Henry in a strange way. Henry didn't know what to say, but at last Jessie said, Oh, no. It's just us. Our mother and father have passed away. Then you must stay, said Mrs. Moore. Here comes Mary. The cook put a table under the trees, and they all sat down around it and ate a delicious dinner. Then Mary went in the house and came out again with a big bowl of cherry dumplings. I can smell something good, cried Benny. Is it cherries? Yes, my little dear, said Mary. Cherry dumplings. The cherries are cooked in the dumplings. Benny ate his cherry dumplings and then went to sleep with the dog for a pillow. But Henry and Jessie and Violet began to work again. Mrs. Moore looked out the window at them. Just see how those children work, she said to Dr. Moore. And they're so polite, too. I wonder who they are. Dr. Moore said nothing. After a while, he went out to the orchard. You've worked long enough, he said. He gave them $4 and all the cherries they could carry. That's too much, said Henry. No, said Dr. Moore, it's just right. You see, you're better than most workers because you're so happy. Come again. I'll come every day, said Benny. They all laughed. Dr. Moore said the children did not all leave the orchard at the same time, but started down the street 2 by 2. I wish I knew who they were, he said to himself. When the cherry pickers got back to their little home, they looked everything over carefully, but things were just as they had left. The door was still closed, and the milk and the butter were still in the refrigerator. The children made a happy supper of bread and butter and cherries, and then went to bed on the boxcar. That same night, Dr. Moore sat reading the newspaper. All at once, he saw the word lost and began to read. Lost. 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls, somewhere around Greenfield or Silver City. $5,000 reward to anyone who can find them. Signed, James Henry Alden. Dr. Moore sat up. $5,000, he said. James Henry Alden? Oh my, oh my. He sat still for a long time, thinking and laughing to himself. The 4 children are living in a boxcar, but I should not tell Mr. Alden that they are his grandchildren, he said. I will keep that a secret. Okay, and I'll stop here, and we'll come back for chapter 10.